Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S. back here with part 2 of my quirky, strange, mad idea called microing, which is an idea I had a while back. I know I'll probably give it a bit more time before I made part 2, but I thought while I was a bit bored or I had a few ideas going in my head, I thought I'd make part 2. Anyway, I'll try not to waffle too much. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed part 1. If you've watched it, if not, I hope you check it out, and I hope you'll support my videos for August, as it's my birth month. Be like a birthday present for me. Anyway, these ideas mainly at the moment, or right now, or well, I hope to be from now on rather, are with the intention of benefiting Indigenous Africans and Australasians, especially, but Black people generally, to network together and support each other. So in the past I always had these ideas about tech. Part of it was for philanthropy and helping people across Africa and places like that, and developing countries. But back then I did want to make a lot of money for myself, but now I'd like to make money for people across developing countries, in this case across Indigenous Africans, across Indigenous Africa and Australasia. Anyway, I'm going to try not to waffle too much, and again, I'd love to hear what you think. And how, maybe a question could be, how do you think Black people around the world, or allies, people of colour and allies generally, could support Indigenous Africans and Australasians? I think it'd be good to encourage companies, NGOs, and even governments, politicians and people like that to have programs which support Indigenous Africans and Australasians in tech generally. So anyway, here goes. So number 11, I need to say number 1 again then. Number 11, I'd love to have like a one-stop place, a one-stop shop, which has everything to do with technology, but anything that anyone would want to have to do with technology would be in that shop, but it could be run at least partly by people from across Africa, or with big tech could work with people across Africa to help those shops to be developed. Although those shops could be around the world, they could be partly made by people across Africa, including people with dyslexia and ADHD and autism and things like that across Africa. And also on that note, Microsoft and other companies have had programs, even Dell and others have had programs which have helped neurodiverse people, including people with autism, especially possibly dyslexia as well, and possibly another condition I have myself, which is dyspraxia. As far as I'm aware, I have dyslexia and dyspraxia, but they've done those sorts of programs for people in the West. But I think it'd be great if they did that for people across Africa as well, with autism, dyspraxia, dyslexia, possibly ADHD as well, and that sort of thing. Basically neurodiverse people. And also, I'd love to change the perception of Africa. So, for instance, Nigeria has a bad reputation of being like hackers or being scammers and things like that. And I think it'd be great if Nigerians and Africans generally from all over Africa could unite, as I say, through tech, had something that they work on together and make like programming systems which actually keep systems safe. So it goes like a full 360-degree turn from having a reputation of being hackers and scammers and things like that to actually being people who keep computer systems safe and are doing a lot of good work to cut crime, and including cybercrime and tech, and having surveillance systems. So I think that'd be pretty cool. And I'm drinking like this thing from a black British entrepreneur who made this company, Levi Roots, and I was thinking black entrepreneurs or even politicians or others from across the world, including Britain, America and elsewhere, could perhaps use their wealth and influence to help Indigenous Africans and Australasians, again, mentor, teach, train, inspire and encourage and donate to, even fundraise for, maybe use some of that, as I say, wealth and experience and connections to help Indigenous Africans and Australasians. Moving on that note, number 12, I think it'd be great if there could be like #mentor for Indigenous Africans and Australasians in tech and other areas, so that people generally, including from the Black diaspora, if you like, excuse me, or Pan-Africans in America and elsewhere, in UK, America, and across Europe, could help Indigenous Africans and Australians, as well as potential allies, other people of colour, allies and whatnot. they could help Indigenous Africans and Australasians as much as possible by mentoring, teaching and training them and that sort of thing, inspiring them, being role models and that sort of thing. Again, donating perhaps or fundraising for, hosting events where they fundraise for, donate a certain percentage of their profits from their companies, as say people like Levi Roots, if they wanted to do so. I wouldn't want to force anyone to do so, but as I often say, or pester anyone or anything like that. But if he wanted to do so, if people asked him politely and he wanted to do so, I think it'd be pretty cool. People like Damon John, an African American entrepreneur, and other African American entrepreneurs. And Damon John is both black and dyslexic. People like him could perhaps donate to fellow dyslexics as well, especially. I thought I'd get dyslexia thing in there as well. But I just want to help Indigenous Africans and Australasians generally. Number 13, I hope to perhaps address, or maybe people can post in the comments about some of the problems I might face, or we might face, for instance, the infrastructure across Africa and Australasia, especially in those communities in Australasia and Aboriginal, Torres and Strait Pacific Island and Maori communities, bringing people together, spreading the idea, my own, like, so say for instance, my YouTube channel being quite small, or me not being able to express my own ideas as well, what sort of problems we might face generally, like the internet connection, slow internet connection in those communities across Africa and Indigenous communities across Australasia as well. How can we, and on that note, number 14, how can we address those problems and solve problems for Indigenous Africans and Australasians generally, but also how can they solve problems for the rest of the world at the same time? So, like, again, it's like cutting cybercrime, keeping people safe online, keeping children especially safe, and excuse me, and just cutting general crime and things like that, and monitoring and surveillance of, and creating monitoring and surveillance of potential crime and things like online, or things like number 15. I hope that organisations like Andela and others that help. I'm not sure if I mentioned. I forgot to mention, like, the one. Well, I did mention the one-stop shop for Africa. I remember now. The one-stop shop for, or one-stop store for, tech. That could be where companies like Andela or others that want to support Africa all come together. So Andela, and as well as NGOs, as well as charities that support people across Africa, even companies like Microsoft and big tech generally, but also, as I say, NGOs and charities, how the politicians and that sort of thing, how they can work together to specifically target helping Indigenous Africans and Australasians in tech. I think that would be pretty awesome. Number 16, I hope to also have like committees, think tanks, cooperatives, networks, brainstorms, whatever you want to call them, and all that kind of thing, which look into ways, like seek ways to help Indigenous Africans and Australasians, I say, what are the best ways to empower them, like how we can make faster internet access, provide more access to electricity, provide PCs, laptops, and things for a lot cheaper, maybe even companies donating some of those for free or donating a certain amount of money so that all possible people I'd love for everyone across Africa and also Indigenous communities across Australasia, on that note, to have access to tech and training and things like that, and opportunities. So I'd love to learn to look into ways that could be achieved, and like fundraising ideas and raising awareness and what are the best ways to do those sorts of things. Number 17, I hope to use my imagination and, again, to raise awareness of things like dyslexia and neurodiversity generally across Africa, including through tech and things like that, and look at ways, again, like how Africans can work on something which I hope to talk about possibly next week or the week after, called what I call MOP, which stands for micro operating programmer or processor, which is like which would be like something which makes computers as safe as possible, and like as many users as possible around the world use that sort of stuff. And I think an incentive for big tech to support Indigenous Africans would be that there could be tax incentives for investing in African tech, or for helping Africans, or investing in the education of Africans, Indigenous Africans and Australasians in tech, like training them basically, and things like that. They could be tax incentives for doing so, and all sorts of ideas like that. I'd love to hear other people's ideas, and also maybe keep coming up with more ideas in the future as well. I'd also love for this project to be set up on my birthday, which is August the 29th, perhaps, or maybe even before then, as it will be my 40th birthday. And as they say, life begins at 40. As I mentioned in previous videos, I hope to produce many projects on my 40th birthday, including learning to speak properly. Number 18, I think this would be, I love to talk about ways that this would make the world a better place, including tackling poverty and solving problems and doing many great things to make the world a better place, especially for Indigenous Africans and Australasians, but making the world a better place generally, especially for the less privileged or the most disadvantaged people around the world generally. Number 19, again, I hope to look into some of the problems that we might face and how to tackle those problems, again, including like communication and things like that. And number 20, one of the problems I face is that I like things to be done in a certain way, just so, and in a certain time. So I hope that I won't be too disappointed if things don't work out quite the way I want, or I don't become too frustrated myself. And I hope to be patient enough to understand that things don't always work the way I want, how I want, and when I want, and things like that. And if things go wrong, I hope to keep working away till I manage to achieve as much as I can. And I'd say hopefully I'll exceed my own hopefully this project will exceed my expectations and do many great things. But I'd say I hope to be patient if it doesn't quite work out, and not be too pessimistic or too defeated or disappointed. Not to feel too disappointed or defeated, Antrik, or disappointed, sorry. But yeah, I hope that this will be better than I anticipate, and that people from across Africa and Australasia, Indigenous people from Africa and Australasia, and the Black diaspora and community will showcase and prove what they can do if and when they work together, what they achieve, and what they can do when they support each other, basically. So I'm sure there was something I was going to say, but I completely forgot. But yeah, I hope that music, sports, art, and all sorts of different areas can be used to fundraise for Indigenous Africans and Australasians to be empowered through tech. And again, I hope they will network together with lots of fundraising, and it will end like tribalism or division, and they'll support each other and see what they have in common rather than what they have, which is different from each other. So anyway, sorry if I'm waffling, and I'd love to hear what you think as ever and what ideas you have. That's one thing I was going to say, and I nearly forgot. I knew it was something. I hope that in spite of my own, I don't know if anyone will make it this far, but if people do, thanks so much. But I hope that videos like this, as perhaps unprofessional as I am, or whatever, as many weaknesses I have, hopefully people who are more skilled or whatever and have more expertise will also be inspired by my ideas. Anywho, I am out. Peace and love.